John Butler, Chief Executive of Nambucca Valley Care and Chairperson of the Industry Reference Group for the Mid-North Coast. So we're going to be talking today generally about our regional project. Our regional project is school-based traineeship systems with a little bit of difference. You know, they've been around a long time, but this particular project, which is time limited at the moment, actually takes the skill-based traineeship system a few steps further. We might just do a bit of a visual take, which just gives you an idea of the youth actually at work, so to speak, and we might just get into the specifics then. Bit of self-congratulations.
They're the project KPIs. What we want to show you, future workforce. These are the kids that are and students that are currently going through the process in the Port Hastings. These kids are years 9, 10 and going into 11. So I shouldn't call them kids, I should call them students.
Absolutely. So really the purpose for this as a process is to early identify and engage with youth and really as early as possible. Year 9 is really the time of engagement. And it's not just about engaging with the youth, it's also about their families, extended families. For the Mid-North Coast particularly, hugely important. Bit of demographic background. As a region, it's got high Aboriginal population. It's got a very low youth retention rate into employment, so most youth, at least a large percentage of youth, are actually leaving the Mid-North Coast for other areas because they figure, because none of the high-profile industries are in business, that there's nothing there for them. We've also got the follow-on cohort, 25 to 45s, underrepresented as a consequence. So it's only when they get to be of an age where they've got family themselves, want to bring that family network back together again, that you'll actually see people coming back to the Mid-North Coast. So those are the problems. It's a growing retirement destination, so we've got also an ageing population. So underrepresentation in the peak employment time, overrepresentation in the retiring years. High Aboriginal population. So this school-based traineeship system is really about trying to make sure that we engage with people from year 9, actually so that they can consider a career in aged care as a real strong possibility. So it's actually live time, working with providers. The important part of this as a process is that mentoring or pastoral support is actually a key feature of, or an underpinning feature of what this is all about. Traditionally, particularly with the Aboriginal community and longer term or multi-generation unemployment, that pastoral support is actually key to the success of this as a program. That mentoring actually takes the form of one-on-one, and that's one-on-one with the individual and their family or extended family. So that is the key cost driver, really. The certificate or training itself is really the minor cost because it really is cross-subsidised anyhow.
So you pay your mentors?
Yeah, basically in this instance we have a provider that will provide that mentoring support. Yeah. So as a pilot project, those costs are obviously defrayed in the main and by in-kind support from employers. So as we move forward, we'll see the end of this pilot at the end of this year. It will actually have an ongoing future because at this juncture we actually have employers that have come forward and actually have put their hand up and said, we're prepared to be party to funding this as an ongoing project. So that's critical. It's one thing to have a pilot, but if it hasn't got a future application, why are we bothering? So the employers are actually seeing the value in this. We're already seeing evidence from this refined program and previous school-based traineeships that there is some longitudinal evidence now that it actually has a lot of merit. People are actually staying in the system. I can't quote you the conversion rates into employment, but they're really good. The cohort that's going through this time, it looks like their ongoing engagement is just about going to be high 80s into 90s ongoing. So that's really quite encouraging. So this is a cohort that up until this year, or from the end of this year, would have waved the Mid-North Coast goodbye. So automatically we've got a capture point there into the future. Now, alongside this, we've been running for quite some time now, about 3 years plus, a new entrant program. So mature age entry, we're not basing that process around anything other than attitude. So soft skills, we're not looking for pieces of paper, we're looking for life skills. So we're getting people in the system. There's a number of entry and exit points, both from an employer perspective and a potential employee perspective. So going through that process, what we wind up with is a person running through a paid traineeship with an employer. Out of that, we're capturing a person that in the main has presented in the past in the high under or unemployment spectrums. So we're converting those people into really valued employment status. Many of those employees are actually going on to higher education as a consequence. That's a cross benefit. Now, the double whammy here is that we're capturing youth from year 9. Pastoral support that goes along with that. Remember that pastoral support actually also goes into the families. So, new entrant program, mature age adults. You see it. It's actually those families that have been under or unemployed for a long period of time, alongside their sons or daughters, actually see that there is a life beyond the unemployment queues. So these are two critical features of a strong employment plan that is working really well for the Mid-North Coast and actually has really easy conversion into other jurisdictions. So, for the new entrant program, it's quite codified now. So it's something that with minimal adaptation can actually work anywhere. We're working through the refinement of the school-based traineeship system as well at present. So by the time we get to year end, once again it'll be a tested package, quite codified and portable into other areas. So it's something that those two alone will actually carry areas that have some unique things like high Aboriginal populations or in fact non-English speaking backgrounds in general that can work very well. So, open to questions.
And I think also the spread of age with these two programs runs from 15 years of age up to currently my oldest convert into the sector is 62 years old, a former shoe salesman who has come into the sector in the Port Hastings region, and he said it's the best thing he's ever done. So at every stage we're making these stakeholders, including the job seekers, the opportunity to make informed decisions to either continue or to step away, so that everybody makes the best call that they can at each step of the process.
I think one of the things that we got out of this process as well was that schools now approach us. They are on our doorstep all the time, so we don't have to go and look for students, for younger people. Now they just know where to look, and they just come to us, and they phone me up probably every single term that we have a touch base, and they invite me into the schools, and we have this real live conversation with real people, with the students right from the word go, year 9, year 11, and we're sort of not programming them, but we're introducing them into a work life right from the word go, and bringing them into our sector, so that, and it may not be just the care providers, but the administration, hospitality, all those things that we need in our sector.
Very interested in this. We've just started doing some stuff with the schools in the last start of this term, so very early days, but I'm very interested in some more information on this.
Well, Justin, the other thing too that we've managed to do is it's an educative process. So apart from the demystification, we're educating stakeholders to have an appreciation of the sector, and also at the same time we're creating empathy because we're learning about their needs as well, so that there is that mutual understanding, because that's what's going to really cement a relationship and make it sustainable.